All right, let's just get right to it. It's 2026, and if you're a developer, your main job, well, it's not writing code anymore. I know, that sounds pretty wild, right? But the thing is, AI has completely reshaped our world. Now, this isn't some doom and gloom story about being replaced. It's about a massive shift in what you do day to day. So in this explainer, we're going to break down exactly what this means for your career.
And look, this isn't just some catchy headline. This is the reality on the ground. Your value as a developer in 2026, it's got nothing to do with how many lines of code you can churn out. Not anymore. Now it's all about how well you can direct, how well you can architect, and maybe most importantly, how you validate what these AI systems are building. They're the ones doing the heavy lifting now. So how do you navigate all this? Well, here's the plan. First, we'll talk about the big leap from simple assistants to full-blown agents. Then we'll dig into the actual tools you're using in 2026. After that, we'll cover how AI has totally changed testing in QA. We'll also tackle the new job market, what it really looks like. And finally, we'll wrap up with a solid action plan so you can really succeed in this new world. All right, so first up, from assistants to agents. This is probably the single biggest shift we've seen. It's all about how we work with AI. The best way to think about it is, well, it's like we went from having a junior dev who could help with autocomplete to having a senior partner who can literally run an entire project on their own. That's the real difference between an assistant and an agent. The key word here really is proactivity. An assistant, like the old versions of Copilot, was reactive. It just followed your lead. But an agent, it's a whole different ballgame. You give it a high-level goal and it takes it from there. It plans the whole workflow, does the coding, the testing, even deployment. It's a complete game changer, for sure. Okay, so let's talk about your toolbox. What are developers actually using day to day in 2026? We're going to cut through all the marketing fluff and look at the real tools people are using to ship software. So, the first big change you'll notice is that the whole idea of an old editor with some AI plugin bolted on, that's just gone. Instead, we have AI native editors, built from the ground up with AI at their core. And the big one on the scene right now is Cursor. So what makes a tool like Cursor so incredibly powerful? It's all about context. It doesn't just see the file you have open, it understands your entire codebase. That means it can pull off these huge, complex refactors or generate whole new features with an accuracy that old-school assistants could only dream of. I mean, you can literally just ask it, hey, refactor this whole module to use the new V3 API, and boom, it just does it flawlessly. But hey, AI native editors are really just the starting point. The next big step up is what we call the autonomous AI software engineer. We're talking about tools that you can just hand a feature request to, and they'll handle the entire process. Planning, coding, deployment, the whole shebang. And the one that really kicked the door down in this space was Devin. And this is really where that shift in your role becomes so clear. When you're working with something like Devin, you're not the one in the weeds writing code. Your job becomes defining the problem with absolute clarity, and then, on the other end, validating the solution that the AI comes up with. You're the architect and the quality control. Now, not every tool is trying to be a general-purpose engineer. Of course not. We're also seeing a huge rise in these hyper-specialized assistants that are just deeply integrated into one specific ecosystem. A perfect example is Amazon Q Developer. If you live and breathe AWS, this thing is basically indispensable. And this brings up a really interesting point about programming languages. In 2026, how relevant a language is, well, it's directly tied to how well it's supported by these big AI tool chains. So when you're spinning up a new project, you're not just thinking about syntax or performance anymore. A huge part of the decision is, what's the AI tooling like for this stuff? Okay, let's switch gears to testing and QA. This area has been, well, it's been completely turned on its head by AI. You know those days of just endlessly writing and then fixing brittle, fragile test scripts? They're gone. Over. Now our job is to oversee these intelligent systems that handle quality, which frees us up to focus on the really tough, complex problems. So how does this actually work in practice? Let me walk you through it. First, you can feed the system a simple user story, and it'll generate a whole suite of tests for you, just like that. Then, let's say the front-end team changes the UI. The tests don't just all break. Why? Because the AI has a semantic understanding. It knows a submit button is still a submit button, even if the ID or the CSS selector changes. And get this, if a test does fail, the AI doesn't just throw an error. It explains the failure in plain English and even suggests a fix. It's incredible. A great example of this in the real world is a platform called Testim. This is exactly what they do. They use AI to create these self-healing tests that adapt to UI changes, which just slashes the time teams used to waste on maintenance.
All right, let's get to the big question, the one that's probably been nagging you this whole time. What does this mean for my job? I know the headlines are all about replacement, but the reality is so much more nuanced. It's not about being eliminated, it's about being reshaped. And we've got data to back this up. If you look at the numbers from the World Economic Forum, they're actually pretty clear. While yes, some jobs are being displaced, AI is creating even more new jobs. But here's the catch, and it's a big one. Those new jobs demand a totally different set of skills.
And I mean, look at this, a 56% wage premium for jobs that require AI skills. The market is screaming at us. Adapting here isn't just about keeping your job, it's about opening the door to more strategic, more interesting, and much higher paying roles. The financial incentive to get on board is just undeniable. And this quote really hits the nail on the head. This is why your job is safe, even though it's different. Think about it. AI tools are phenomenal at repetitive, execution-based tasks, but they have zero creativity. They have no real business understanding. They can't make those tough architectural calls. That's where we come in. Our value is shifting to all the things AI can't do. So, with all that said, how do you actually adapt? Let's get super practical. I want to give you a concrete action plan so you can move forward and not just survive, but really, truly thrive in this new AI era. First things first, you have to embrace the productivity gains. Developers are reporting saving over 40 hours a month using these tools. 40 hours! That's a full work week every single month. So the real question you have to ask yourself is, what are you going to do with that time? This is your golden opportunity to double down on the high-value, strategic work that only a human can do. Okay, here's a simple 3-step plan to get you started. Step 1, audit your own workflow. Seriously, look at your week. What are the routine, repetitive things you do that an AI could handle? Automate them. Step 2, lean into your human skills. I'm talking about critical thinking, complex problem solving, collaboration, the stuff AI is bad at. And step 3, deliberately learn how to use these tools effectively. Learn prompt engineering. Your goal is to become an AI orchestrator, not to be replaced by one. And just as important, let's talk about what you can stop worrying about. Seriously, you are not going to be completely replaced overnight. That's just not how this works. You also do not need to go get a PhD in AI research. And maybe most importantly, your existing programming and system design skills, they're not obsolete. In fact, they're more valuable than ever because they're the foundation you need to direct these powerful new tools. Look, at the end of the day, what we do hasn't really changed, right? We're still here to solve interesting problems and build cool things. The tools have changed dramatically, but the goal is exactly the same. So the real question I want to leave you with is this. With these ridiculously powerful new tools in your hands, what problem are you going to solve first?